booktubers, I have a haul for you and I'm really excited because I haven't done a haul video in over a month, I think, a little over a month. So I have a bunch of books to show you and I'm just gonna go ahead and get started because there are 17 books maybe, I think. Never Fall Down by Patricia McCormick. This is a book that I was sort of excited to read. I found this on a website for cheap, so I got it. I've read her other books sold and kind of enjoyed it, but heard really great things about this one. And this is a book about a Cambodian child laborer. And it's based off of a true story, and I heard nothing but really great, fantastic things about this, so I got that. I ended up picking Silver Linings Playbook, which is a pretty famous book since it has been turned into a movie. I am not one for movie cover editions, but I prefer the movie cover edition over the original cover. This one is a really good cover. Next, I got Memoirs of an Imaginary Friend by Matthew Dix. This book has been on my wish list for a really long time. I found this book on a website for a really great price, so I couldn't resist. It's essentially about a boy who has an imaginary friend, and he possibly might have Asperger's syndrome or some sort of condition around that spectrum, so I was really interested. I haven't read a story in the perspective of a child in a really long time, so I can't wait to read this. Next, I also picked up Me Who Drove into the Heart of the World by Sabina Berman. This is another book that's been on my list for a long time and is also dealing with characters with specific medical or mental conditions. This one happens to deal with a character that has autism, and I really like reading different perspectives, so this one sounded really great. And also this cover is really stunning. Can you see it? It's pretty. Very pretty. After the last video, I asked a few of you guys about recommendations for some books, and some of you mentioned Stephen Fry to me, and I ended up picking Making History, and I'm really excited to read this. It is a bit of a giant book, but the font is really huge on this one, but I've heard really great things about this, so I can't wait to read this. And if I do enjoy his writing style and his work, then I'll pick up some of his other books. But yeah, this sounds really fantastic. I found this book in a used bookstore, and this is called Snowball's Chance by John Reed. It is an unauthorized sequel, so to speak, to George Orwell's Animal Farm, and this takes place after September 11th, and it's an interesting sort of plot line. It says here, where Snowball returns to the farm, takes charge and implements a new world order of untrammeled capitalism. I'm really excited to see what this one is about, and it looks like a really great, fantastic read. I did very much enjoy Animal Farm, and of course I doubt John Reed is a George Orwell, but it would be interesting to see how he explores this plot, so yeah. Next, I picked up The Never-Ending Story by Michael Ende, and this is a children's classic, Never-Ending Story. That famous 80s film, very epic stuff. Really excited to read the book because I heard it was utterly captivating and just filled with imagination, so I ended up getting this, and the cover on this is really cute. There's lots of really adorable illustrations. Next, I picked up a middle grade book. This one's called Zebra Forest by Adina Rush. No idea how to say that name. But essentially, this is kind of like a thriller novel about a family that's held captive in a house in the forest. And it sounds really creepy and really interesting, and it's a short little book. And it's middle grade, so I freaking adore middle grade fiction. And look at the cover. Isn't this adorable? Then I ended up getting Neil Gaiman's Unnatural Creatures. This is a collection of short stories selected by Neil Gaiman that sort of have the whole enchanted theme to it, and it's supposed to be really good. The cover is gorgeous. It's Neil Gaiman. He chose, even though he didn't write the stories on this, I'm sure some of the stories are going to be amazing, and I like short stories very much. This is something that I can just sort of read on and off here and there and not have to dedicate like a whole set period of time to finish this. Picked up another used book. This one is Good Night, Desdemona, Good Morning, Juliet. This is actually a play recommended to me by a very good friend of mine. He said I had to read this, so I'm gonna read it, and it's short, so I can read this fairly quickly. I also ended up just going ahead and picking up the second book to the Girl in the Fairyland series. This is The Girl Who Fell Beneath Fairyland and Led the Revels There by Catherine M. Valente. I already know I'm going to love that other book, even though I haven't read it yet, and this was just on that website that I buy some of my books sometimes for super, super cheap, so I couldn't resist. And, like, it's a book about fairies and dragons. How can it not be amazing? Lastly, I picked up a whole bunch of Roald Dahl books that I intend to read very soon because they're really short, and they were like super cheap. They were $3.99 at a used bookstore, but they were like in flawless condition, so I had to get them. The first one is Boy and Going Solo, which is not actually a story, it's Roald Dahl's memoir, so I picked that one up. Danian, the Champion of the World, Twits, SEO Chart, and finally George's Marvelous Medicine, which I'm very excited to read. So that is my haul for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I will be back with another video very shortly, and I will see you guys soon. Ta-ta.